All right, for all our people out there, Adrian,
Hello. Hi,
Hello.
everyone.
it's Friday. It's Aloha Friday.
And we're on the Friday Live here. With
And who's our guest?
We've got our favorite home inspector, Kenji Vendetta. Looks like he's just finished up a home inspection and is hanging out in a garage.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
So before the neighbors call the cops, let's get ready for the show. No. Kenji, pillar to post home inspections. Tell us about, why, let's start from the beginning. Why pillar to post? What's unique about pillar to post?
Well, one of the reasons what's unique about Pillar to Post is we're a franchise and we're the largest home inspection franchise across North America. So we're in Canada and the US. We have inspectors in all 50 states. We also send our inspectors to Toronto, Canada for training. We are covered. We have our own E&O insurance to make sure that we're covered on the back end of it. So that way, if anything were to go wrong, litigations and all that, we have our own independent teams to cover that aspect of the home inspection on the litigation side.
How long is this training that you go through to be, just to get, authorized to be a home inspector? What does that look like? And then what is the continuing education that Pillar to Post does with you guys?
All right. So first off, we do ride-alongs for about 3 to 4 months before the inspector gets acclimated, and then we actually send them to Toronto, Canada for training. Then after they complete the 2-week, grueling course, then they'll come back to their home base and they'll do ride-alongs. Currently, the average turnaround for a home inspector is about 6 to 9 months. So we are dedicating these time so that we can turn out these home inspectors to do the right job, to do the right things, and to comment on the right items, so that these people, the buyers, can have the peace of mind of what they're purchasing. That's why it's such a long, grueling process, is because this is high dollar values and you don't want to miss anything. You want to notate every single little piece of the home, so that way you as the home inspector is covered, your buyers know what they're getting into, and even same for sellers too, know what they're putting on the market.
So I've got a question, because with the training taking place in Canada, how did COVID affect the training and the retraining and certifications with Pillar to Post?
It's testings before then. Before you get up there, you got to provide your test results, COVID test results, prior to going up there. And then same as wherever your state logistics is, it's like for Hawaii, you got to test prior to coming back home, or after you come back home, you get tested or quarantined. So we leave that part up to the logistics, depending on the state or the county and what they have in place. But as far as going up there to get the testing done, or to be to do the courses, they have to be tested prior to getting to Canada.
So similar to the Hawaii standards.
Yeah, it's wherever you travel, wherever travel is. Yeah, wherever travel is, follow that protocol.
We only do these, so we do these things short, kind of like a TED Talk, 20 minutes. So let's hit them with some highlights. What would you say is, let's talk to the realtors first, and then we'll talk to the homeowners in second. But to the realtors out there, what's a good thing about a realtor utilizing you guys' service? Or how do you make it easy for them to do business with you?
Okay, real easy. Scheduling is super simple. Give me a call, give me a text, shoot me an email. As long as we have the client information and their email, then we're able to send out the quotes within within 24 hours. Probably more than the time frame looks, about 12 hours, at least within 12 hours. We'll get them out there. Scheduling is very convenient. I work with all the clients. If a homeowner or if a buyer works during the weekdays, they're only off in the evenings, then we'll schedule around it so that they're there for the walkthrough. When it comes to the report side of it, they'll get the reports the same evening, if not the next morning. So that way you guys can, send everything over. Whatever it needs to be asked for, whatever information that needs to be discussed, that can be discussed within 24 hours with a report in hand. And then we also give them, our clients, the hard copy, which
Yeah.
they can take off site to read, to just to digest the home, because there's a lot of information coming at them all at once.
Go ahead, Adrian.
So, Kenji, how do you guys handle the sight unseen buyers? What kind of extra levels of service do you offer for maybe a client that is not here to see the property or even through escrow? The first time they're walking through is maybe like a month after closing. What do you do?
All right. So for that, we do video walkthrough tours. So they describe from the start of, when I do those tours, is from the outside of the house, walk around the property, show them the electrical meter, show them their water shuttle valves. Then we get into the house and I go through the kitchens, the bedrooms, highlight everything that was an issue with the house and highlight all the positives as well. That way they get a good, good visual tour of the property, of whatever issues that were found. And on top of that, we also do this interactive summary report where they'll get a floor plan and a virtual tour, but it's stationary. So that way they can feel as if they're in the center of the room while looking at it. Very kind of equivalent to Matterport, but not a Matterport standard. So very similar to it, but we give that out to them so that way they know how the home looks.
They can do that digital walkthrough. What about the realtors? Do you recommend that they be there the whole time or just come at the end?
For realtors, generally they can come up at the end of the scheduled walkthrough. Although I understand, some agents that like to be there for the whole duration. I'm okay with it. I have no preference either or. I have agents that come in there because it's dedicated time for a home inspection. They get a lot of work done. What they would normally take to do in 2 days during normal work schedule, they're able to do it within 3 hours after there. So cold calls, I've seen cold calls, follow-ups, everything happened during an inspection. And it's because they have the time to do it, because it's just dedicated time for them to do it.
I think what we find is it's sometimes clients want us there the whole time. Sometimes they don't mind. What we recommend to our team and you realtors out there, if you want to have the best use of your time, I recommend not being there the whole time. Come at the end. You know why? Because you're tempted to want to chit chat, and then you all are doing stuff, and you might be a distraction. Let the home inspector focus on what they're doing, get their job done, and come up. Not that you're not going to have a good report, but there's no such thing as multitasking. There's no such thing. Read the book called The One Thing. You can't do two things at the same time. So let Kenji and his crew focus on what they need to do so that they have a good report and can walk them through at the end. Adrian, what are the questions?
So Kenji, you had mentioned on our radio show about this industry being unregulated here in Hawaii.
Yes.
Yeah. What kind of certifications do you guys hold that, so consumers and agents can feel confidence in what you're doing?
All right. So for Pillar to Post, we follow the ASHI Home Inspection Guidelines, which is American Standard of Home Inspectors. American Society of Home Inspectors. We follow those guidelines, and it's a very listed detail of what we're supposed to be doing as home inspectors. Another one that other independent inspectors use is InterNACHI, which is another home inspection guideline as well. Those are the two primary ones in North America that all home inspectors follow. As far as us at Pillar to Post, we follow the ASHI, and then we also, individuals, we get our own certificates outside of that. So I did a couple courses through ICA to get our home inspection certification through that as well. And just every month, there's at least something to learn on these websites through these courses and through these certifications that they have posted. Like they'll update us on the electrical, they'll update us on plumbing, and you have to go ahead and take those courses as well to show proof that, hey, you're keeping up within you're keeping up with the current times of the home inspector. So that way nobody's falling behind.
Well, that should give people peace of mind. The other thing is, what are some of the, I think a lot of agents and maybe even sellers think that, if we do the home inspection, your primary purpose is to talk people out of buying the home. And that's a myth. And talk to that. Why is that a myth?
No, we're not trying to get them not to buy the home. We're trying to get them to purchase the home by giving them the information possible. Like, this is the condition of the home that you're purchasing in, whether it be in good condition or in bad condition, or there's some major issues that need to be addressed. As a buyer, you should fully know well what you're walking into prior to putting the offer in. And then once you got that offer in, now it's time to find out what is wrong with this home. What do we need to know for it to be up to par, or what do we need to be addressed? What kind of safety issues is present? Because 10 minutes of walking around the house is not fast enough. It takes me 3 hours on a single family home to give you a detailed report of what's wrong with it. 15 minutes, you're not going to point every single little thing out. So that's what we're there for.
Adrian, what other questions or myths?
Well, one thing I know we've talked about in the past, but we didn't get to touch on it this past radio show, is for sellers. What is the benefit of doing a pre-inspection before the home goes on the market?
That's a good question. Benefit. They know the condition of the home that they're selling. They know all the small little details, whether you got a leaky faucet, outlets that are not working, or loose outlets, or let's just say they got drywall damages. All these small little things, they do add up. As a home inspector, we can give them that to-do list of what needs to be done. Once they get that to-do list, now they can look at the price and see what they're asking for and make it reasonable. All right, if it costs $10,000 for repairs to be done, am I going to mark up $10,000, or am I going to mark down $10,000? Am I going to give $10,000 in credit? It gives them better all-around number of what to settle on. That way, they can make the sale and transition a lot easier. If they want to disclose the information or the home inspection report to the potential buyers, then that's even better, because now the buyers know what they're getting themselves into. So it really cuts through all the weeds and gets straight to the point of who really wants to put an offer in onto this house and who doesn't.
Yeah, and I think, speak to it from the realtor's perspective, addressing both the buyer and the seller regarding the home inspection. The home inspection is going to be utilized to the buyer's benefit to see if they can, open up negotiations, get credits, get things fixed. Now, on the seller side, we noticed that sellers and/or sellers agents are tempted to tell people, "Hey, you're not getting a home inspection. We're deleting that from the contract." I will tell you that you should not do that, because the home inspection moves a lot of the risk or the liability off of the homeowner or the listing brokerage, not necessarily onto Kenji, but it is providing a depth of disclosure that you're not going to get from your listing agent, your listing agent brokerage, or your homeowner. And then it allows the buyer to come in with peace of mind, knowing that, hey, both parties using a neutral party, which you guys have figured out, hey, this is everything good, the bad, and the ugly. It's kind of like if Match.com was matching up people, and then it not only showed what they look like when they're handsome, but it showed their bald spot too, so that when you guys get together and meet at the restaurant, you're like, I knew you had one bald spot, so we still got to continue with this relationship and move forward. So you're like Match.com for the buyer and seller. You're just putting it all out there, but better than Match.
Yes.
Well, I would just say that it's a great thing to do to give peace of mind to both, the seller and the buyer, as far as understanding, what are they getting into, right? And then it's just all around. You just should do a home inspection.
Another question is, a lot of times people are like, oh, it's a couple $100s, but here's how I look at it. You can look at things as a cost or as an investment. I look at it as an investment. Because home prices, $300 for a condo, $400 for a condo, $1 million for a home. That's a pretty small amount of money to invest for peace of mind for both parties, and so that begs the question for people who are like, oh, money conscious. It's a couple $100s. Why do they not want to use their their uncle who's running Babu's Construction Incorporated, who builds homes? I just gonna have my uncle look at them with Babu's Construction.
Yeah, I would not recommend that, just because of the fact that they're going to get a written report, a digital report of the property, and on top of that, is that Uncle Babu's certified or actually insured? Does he carry his own insurance on it?
Yeah.
And that's where the liability comes into play. It's like, how liable is his word, and can we use that? Because let's just say he goes through the house and nothing is wrong with it, but he finds all these issues, and it's all things like the ceiling fan works, but he labels it as not working because He wants money to install a ceiling fan. It's like we're going in there with the mindset of the house is being sold as it is. We're not trying to make any updates. We're not trying to sell this house or make it better. What is the condition? Whereas a contractor walks in there, he's going to find all these small little things that needs repair, but they don't really need repairs.
Well, so you truly are that neutral party, because there's no
intent on your part. You're going to construct it out. Or repair.
No.
The other thing too,
there's no benefit to me for that.
Like, do you guys even recommend people to go in and repair? Because I know that can get kind of tricky as well, right? That there's a certain amount of issues that are wrong. How do you handle that?
We always chalk it up to do your research. Yes, we do have recommended people, but I am your last resort that you want to come to for recommendations. Don't always tell them, go look for your own, price it out, test them out, get them vetted before they even work on your house. And if that all fails, then give me a call. I do have a couple of recommendations that may work, but at the end of the day, it's their choice on who they decide to use.
And what we want to point out is that we do have what's called experts that we trust. So you can go to teamlally.com and then you just go to the section. It's going to show you the experts we trust. We've done the research. We've done the homework. We've done a lot of business with them firsthand. People that have not worked out, no longer on there. So that we've done the research. The other thing too, go to your realtor. Your realtor wants both sides of the transaction, whether you buy or sell side. They want to make this thing move forward and happen. So they want to move some of those roadblocks and give you that peace of mind and have things taken a look at while you're in escrow, as opposed to, oops, you closed already, it's your problem now. And or creating future liability for the seller down the road for the buyer to come back and come bite you no cole. So the other thing I wanted to mention too, with your uncle, with Babu's Construction, they're not really taking a look at appliances. They don't look at appliances. That's not their expertise. Talk about the appliances. What are you doing when you're looking at appliances?
All right. So for appliances, we test them all. If you got a washer, we'll test it. We'll put it on a run cycle. Dryer, same thing. We'll make sure that it runs. We'll see that it spins, and then when you open the door, that it comes out nice. There's the internal walls is warm. Stove, oven, turn them on. Make sure they're burning. They're firing up. Refrigerators. Make sure that if there's an ice and water dispenser, we'll make sure that both ice and water dispensers, they do work. And then temperatures in the refrigerator. Same with microwaves. We'll open those things up, look inside. Came across one that actually started a fire within the microwave itself. So that's why it's important that we go in there, test them, because if a homeowner were to put their food in, fire starts, burns the house down. Okay, well, we didn't know there was going to be a fire hazard, but
and that's when you have
inspection.
That's when you have Honolulu Fire Department comes to your housewarming, and it's literally housewarming because the house is on fire.
It's
very warm.
Yes,
we don't want that kind of housewarming party with HFD. So checking out the appliances, you're checking out I always call it the bones of the property, the electrical, the plumbing, the foundation. Now you're not a structural engineer, you're not a licensed plumber, you're not a licensed electrician, all of that stuff. But the training that you go to, talk about the training that helps you stay up to, what's code, what's not. How often are you doing this type of training?
On a daily, at least once a week, we try to get some training done. I partnered up with a couple of contractors that keeps me up to date to let me know that, hey, these things change in the coding that you might want to be aware of just in case if you ever come across these issues. And as far, even same with electrical, like seeing a junction box right next to the main disconnect, it's like, all right, it's right next to it, it's within X amount of feet, you're okay with it. But if it's outside the X amount of feet, then it's an issue. So now we got to bring that up into the report. So those kind of things, because I've partnered up with these contracts and these licensed people, that keep me informed. That's another part of the training that we do, that we keep up with.
Well, we're coming down to the last minute or two of our TED Talk version of our Friday Live. How about we wrap it up with this? If each of us come up, no duplicates. So if you go first, you don't have to worry. But come up with your number one tip for buyer, seller, realtors. What is your number one tip for regarding home inspection? So I'll go first so that you guys kind of duplicate me. My number one tip for homeowners we get this a lot of times is they're like, oh, I'm in escrow and the home's vacant. I would shut off all the utilities because I don't like I don't like any more electric water bills. Per the contract, and for Kenji and any home inspector to do their job, all the utilities must remain on, even up until the closing or at minimum to the final walkthrough. So leave those on. They'll be all cheap with the water and the electric. If anything, put in a disconnect for the day after you close. That's my number one tip. Keep the utilities on. Go ahead, Adrian.
So my tip is for you realtors out there: as soon as you get that offer accepted, call Kenji.
Yeah.
Just call him, text him, email him, get on the calendar as soon as possible. Don't wait. Even if you have like a 12 or 14-day inspection period. Yeah, call right away so that he can get you in, and you have plenty of time to review and understand the home and know how are you going to go back to the homeowners or the listing agent and work things out.
And that's helpful for you too, Kenji, because Kenji, us realtors, we're like super organized. We're on top of things. You never get a call from a realtor like last minute freaking out saying they need a home inspection because they're running out of time. You never get those kind of calls, do you? Anywho, what's your number one tip, Kenji?
My number one tip for going to a home inspection is not necessarily clean, but organized clean. Organized clean. Yeah. If it's tenant occupied or if it's owner occupied, just organized clean would be my best tip for out there, because it makes our job a little bit easier to get around and clear up the space in front of distribution.
What do you mean?
That's probably
You're not Marie Kondo. You're not Marie Kondo. You're not going to go in there and like, oh, you see this? You should let it go if it brings you no joy. You're not going to organize their house for them while you're doing the home inspection.
No, and sorry.
Then,
but
the big one is like if you have a room where everything ends up in that room and it's piled to the ceiling, left to right, back to front. That's not going to be a room that you can get in and inspect. So if anything, maybe move stuff away from the walls, right? And expose things so that you can get to them. And then that's it. I mean, those are our good tips. I think people got what they needed. Our number one recommendation, we don't recommend anybody else, is Kenji Vendetta with Pillar to the Post, 492-1675. And you can listen to him every Saturday on AMA 30 KHVH because he'll call in most of the time to give a tip of the week. What else, Adrian, before we wrap it up? And then any last things from Kenji?
That's it. I think we've covered quite a bit, and make sure to tune in. He's actually our guest this weekend on the show, so you can hear us there too.
And let's see here. I'm trying to get my video. Oh, there's my video. Okay, we're going to wrap it up. And for everybody waving, goodbye.
Bye, guys.
Oh, wait. Here,